I'd like to tell you a story about Henry Nouwen. Henry was a Roman Catholic priest, and at one point in his life, he taught at Yale University. But in 1981, he left Yale and he went to South America for 6 months, living in Bolivia and Peru. In Peru, he lived in the home of a family that was very poor. In fact, their house was so small they didn't have a room for Henry, so he slept on a bed on the roof. After being there a few months, he told the family members he'd be leaving next week. However, since he wasn't leaving then, he was still there, they acted as if he was staying. But a week later, on a Saturday morning, Henry, suitcase in hand, stood before the family and told them, "I'm leaving in 1 hour." The mother, Sophia, quickly gave one of her children, whose name was Johnny, a bit of money and sent him to the store. They waited for Johnny to return. Henry kept looking at his watch. His bus was leaving in 30 minutes. But suddenly, Johnny was back with a large bottle of Coca-Cola and 2 cookies. Johnny said, "Let's have a party." And he poured the Coke into the family's one glass, carefully passed the glass to each member who was there, so each person could have a sip. And then he broke the cookies into pieces, so everyone could have a piece. Then Johnny's 13-year-old brother, Pablito, said, "Let's have some music." And he pulled out this old record player and put on a record and said, "Let's dance." And everyone danced and laughed and said goodbye to Henry. And just after noon, everybody picked up Henry's suitcase and the whole family walked him to the bus, which was leaving at 12:15. Henry said he realized they had just celebrated communion. The family had celebrated that Henry had been with them. And this was their way of saying, "We love you. We will remember you. Thank you." Christian churches celebrate communion. In the United Church of Canada, we usually share some bread and some grape juice and remember that Jesus shared meals with many people. And particularly remember that the Last Supper he had with his friends, he took a piece of bread and he broke it and he said, "This is my body broken for you." And he took a cup and said, "This cup holds my life poured out for you. Do this and remember me." In communion, we remember that Jesus shared God's love with everyone, that he told everyone that they were a loved child of God. The first Sunday in October is called World Communion Sunday. Many Christian faith communities on this Sunday will share communion. Now, in this time of COVID, many cannot gather in large gatherings of worship, so many will share in their homes with a few family members. As we share communion today, we remember that all of us are loved by God, that everyone in the world is part of one big community, one big family of human beings, of God's family. So let's share some food, let's dance, and let's give thanks for the love of God in our lives, now and always. Thanks be to God. Amen.